Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's going to be reviewing this Mazda 3 Carbon Edition. Before we get in this video, I want to give a huge shout out and thank you to the Orem Mazda here in Utah for giving me some time with this Mazda 3. This particular one is available for sale for the time being, so if you're interested, I'll include a link to their website in the description down below so you can check out this and the rest of the inventory that they currently have. And then on a side note, if you want to save time and money the next time you purchase a car, link to my car buying guide in the description down below. Let's get into it. Under the hood, we have a naturally aspirated 2.5 liter 4-cylinder that goes through a 6-speed automatic transmission. Fuel economy is 26 around town and then 33 on the highway, with power outputs being 191 horsepower and then 186 pound-feet of torque. Now, before we go with the front end, I do want to mention, if you want to see more videos just like this, then I recommend you subscribe because I post content every single day. So starting with the hood, you guys can see it's flat there in the center and then it kind of falls off on either side. I love the simplicity of the design. And then popping down below, I love how sharp the headlights look. And then you guys can see the grille. It's pretty much all blacked out outside of the Mazda logo that's got the silver on it. And putting it all together, I'm a big fan of the front end of the Mazda 3. I just think it looks so cool. Now, coming on the side here, our tire wheel setup is 215, 45, 18 in the front, and over in the rear, you can see the wheels are all blacked out, which contrasts very nicely to the paint on this. And by the way, speaking of paint, just the reflection here in the sunlight, so cool. Now, taking a look at the side profile, this is where you can see the mirror caps are blacked out. You've got some silver trim there around the windows, and, well, it's a hatchback. Now, here's a quick look at the key fob. You got the Mazda logo there, lock and unlock on it, and again, simple with the design. And speaking of hatchback, popping inside, you guys can see that we've got a cargo cover built in from the factory. Plenty of storage space here in the rear as well. That's one of the big benefits of the hatchback is you get a little bit more vertical space compared to the sedan. And you can actually lock it from the rear, which is also cool. But when you're all done, just grab that handle and plop. Taillights here in the new Mazda 3 are so cool looking. Then you guys can see all the rest of the badges. And by the way, the popper right there underneath the logo is pretty cool. And then you guys can see with the, well, let's get a little bit lower viewpoint. There you go, the exhaust tips there. Putting it all together, it has such a sleek design, and this shows that you don't have to have a bunch of crazy body lines to make a car look beautiful. Now, taking a look at the door panel here in the rear, I love the stitching that goes across, and then you can see the padding down below. We've got our window control right there as well, and just everything looks very nice. And then taking a look at the seats, you guys can see perforated all down the center portion. I love the red interior, again, the contrast with the colors. Now, for being such a small car, legroom back here is actually pretty solid overall. No storage pocket there, but we do get one on the passenger side. And of course, this does come with a cup holder armrest. And then last but not least, when it comes to headroom, I got a little bit of space. Now, taking a look at the front door panel, you guys can see here, again, with the stitching and all of the padding. All of our window controls, again, the finish on them is really nice. Get your mirror adjustments, and then the mirrors themselves do have blind spot monitoring. And then taking a look at the front seat, you guys can see perforated all down the center portion. Power adjustments there on the side. And then you can see here for like the safety tech, notice with the stability control, memory seat function also, and then the steering wheel is manually adjustable. Now, taking a look at the steering wheel itself, you guys can see really nice trim all around. You got stitching there in the center portion. We've got our controls for like the cruise control, for example, volume controls, stuff for the center stack, and then you get your regular stocks there on the back. And then taking a look at the gauge cluster itself, if we press the info button, that'll change what shows in the center gauge. But I like the 3-gauge layout. It's simplistic and it just looks good. Now, sorry about the glare with this shot, but we do have a backup camera there with trajectory lines, and resolution's pretty good. So just because of the time of day that it is, there's no way for me to set up the shot without a ton of glare, but this is the infotainment system. Just like other new Mazdas, it's not a touchscreen, everything's controlled via a dial, but overall I'd say the system's really easy to use. Now, the whole dash is soft touch, and even down below and over here as well, which is really cool. And then we have our controls here for the climate system, and just look at the trim, look how nice that looks. Dual zone climate, we've got heated seats as well, and then you guys can see here with our wireless phone charging pad action. Some cup holders. We got our shifter for that 6-speed automatic, does it the manual mode. Sport mode as well, which will pop up there in the gauge cluster. And then this is the control for the infotainment system. You got the volume control as well. Again, really easy to use. You got the dial, you've got the shortcut buttons as well. Nice stitching here, and then you guys can see the center console, pretty large, and it does slide, which is also kind of a cool feature. And then with the glove box, it's actually pretty dang big. And then we do have a manual mirror dimmer, and then this actually also has a sunroof as well. So here's a window sticker for this Mazda 3. Again, this is a 2024 Carbon Edition, polymetal gray, which is such a cool color. Anyways, base MSRP there, and then after all options, which the only option looks like is just destination, $31,425. Let's see how it drives. Well, let's talk about visibility before we set off. Here's visibility over the hood. Both the mirrors, do a blind spot monitoring. And throughout the rest of the rear. And zoom away. I wish Mazda would bring that back, because if they brought back zoom, then we might finally get a new Mazda Speed, aka this with a turbo and a manual transmission. That's the most important part. First off, seat comfort is actually really good. Something that I've seen in the comments of some of these videos is people say that the Mazda seats are like too narrow, basically. And you know, I can understand, like, these seats are somewhat smaller than seats in other cars, but I feel like they fit me just fine. And you know, I would say that I'm probably larger than the the average American at this point. I weigh over 200 pounds and almost 6 foot. So like, if I fit in these seats comfortably, I think most people will fit in these seats just fine. Outside of that, suspension is actually really comfortable as well. Again, you gotta remember, this ultimately, even though it has like this beautiful exterior and this, you know, nice luxury looking interior, this is ultimately at a price point of an economy car. But it's surprising that it drives better than the competition. That is for sure. I mean, a really good example is the Toyota Corolla hatchback. I mean, that thing is so harsh, and this just isn't. It's really good. I'm gonna pop it into the sport mode. Now, obviously, this is not the turbo version. The turbo version is a really exciting one, but you know, this still has good power, and it has a torque converter automatic. I think that's an important thing to note. So it should still get up and go at a pretty decent rate. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't call it fast by any means, but it moves. It definitely moves, that is for sure. So I've driven quite a few of these Mazda 3s over the years, and funny enough, my both of my brothers, I think they still have theirs. Yeah, both of them, I'm pretty sure both of them have they have Mazda 3 hatchbacks. So definitely a car that I guess I like because it's in my family. But yeah, I just think it's a great all-around car. It's comfortable, it looks cool. It's not the biggest car on the planet, but it's spacious for the segment that this competes within. And again, it's very reasonably priced. I think that's the most impressive thing. Like, you get such a premium feel with Mazdas, and you're not paying a premium price. So let me know your thoughts on this Mazda 3, and let me know if there's anything that you would change. But I think this Carbon Edition package is a really good value, and I think, again, it gives you cool looks, nice interior, it gives you some nice luxury features as well.